Good evening, everybody, and welcome in to episode number 13 of the Overtime Podcast with Sparksy and Jared on this Tuesday, July 7th of 2020. And Jared, welcome aboard. Glad to have you on for another episode. Looking forward to this one. How about you?
Yeah, me too. And I'm surprised you can still count episode number 13.
I had to look earlier.
Yeah.
I had to look it up earlier, but yeah, I can't believe we're up to 13 already. And we have another interesting special guest, former Crestline graduate of 2019 and now enrolled at Ashland University as a student and as an athlete on the football program. I'd like to welcome in Ty Clark Jr. Over in Crestline tonight. How you doing, Ty?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing really well. Thanks for joining us. Certainly appreciate it very, very much. And glad to hear things are going in the right direction for you. Got that Ashland University garb on tonight, so we're certainly appreciative of that for sure. Welcome back home to be playing some football kind of in your backyard, so to speak, right?
Yes, sir. It's a lot different than moving 16 hours away, that's for sure.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. Graduated in 2019, as I mentioned, from Crestline, and you were a three-sport athlete. And what's really neat about that is that you lettered 4 years in all three sports. So you took home 12 letters, which in a small school, even that's a pretty big accomplishment. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's definitely a blessing to go to Crestline and be able to have the opportunity to play for my freshman year and on. What happened with that was Nate Kaufman. He was a senior my 8th grade year, and I knew I just wanted to step in and fill his shoes. And then I played catcher, he played tight end, I played tight end, and then he was a big man in basketball, and I was a big man in basketball. So he kind of just passed the torch down to me and just went running from there.
Then after graduation, you had to make some decisions on what you were going to do next, and you landed before that, let's kind of circle back here a little bit. You were an all-conference player in football in the fall of 2018, and then you went on and had an opportunity to play in the American Showcase football game in Daytona Beach, Florida, December of 2018. What was that experience like for you?
It was a good experience. It was a lot different. I had teammates from all over the country on my team, and we had a lot of good athletes, and it was pretty cool because it was on an ESPN live stream, and we felt like we were playing real football then. It was really hot, but it was nice because it was December. We went from snow to the beach, so can't complain about that.
And Jared, pick it up from there.
All right, so you mentioned you started out as a tight end and you moved to quarterback. What was that change like for you?
Well, my freshman year, they threw me in at tight end. Obviously, we have a small school, so I got to start offense and defense. Well, they had me running some backup quarterback, and then going into sophomore year, they had me doing more of tight end, focusing on that. And then about halfway through the year, Hastings Robinette, our offensive coordinator, he sat me down after film and he told me, like, hey, you're going to be the guy next year, so we're going to start getting you some reps. And then sure enough, 3 days later, it was game day, and he got me in the game. So it's a lot different transition going from tight end to quarterback. Quarterback, it's a lot more mental notes. Tight end, it's a lot more, you got to get in there, you got to block, you got to do it all as a tight end as well. So it was a different transition for sure.
So you finish up your senior year at Crestline and you make a tough decision and end up going to South Louisiana Community College in Lafayette, Louisiana. Not exactly the most temperate place you ever want to be in the world. You and I were discussing in preparation for this, a lot of humidity down there in Lafayette in the summertime. But you go and enroll in school there and you play for CMP Prep Academy as a quarterback. And you played schools in Louisiana, Texas, Florida, Alabama, and Mississippi. Talk about what that experience was like and how much you grew as a person and as an athlete being down there in Louisiana, far away from your home in Crestline.
Well, football-wise, it was a whole nother ball game down there. Everyone was bigger, faster, stronger. No knock on anyone up north because we have good football up here, but just down there, everyone's just fast like that, and everyone knows I'm not the fastest kid in the world. So Coach Hutch and Coach Black, we mainly focused on footwork and speed drills for me. And I had some really good teammates, some Division I caliber teammates, and actually the quarterback I shared time with, he was a Division I bounce back from Alabama State. So we were pretty close, and he helped me out a lot. And Coach Black helped me out a lot with the quarterback-wise. Watched a lot of film together, messed with my mechanics, fixed my mechanics. Going down there, I really didn't have that well mechanics. And then Coach Hutch was on me every day about speed and stretching. And he was the one that, he was the coach I talked to that convinced me to come down there, and he was real welcoming, helped me out, showed me and the family around. And he just kind of he helped me get to where I am now and get bigger. I put on I put on a lot of weight, and I gained speed too, so that's always good. The games were hot though. I remember my first week down there for practice. That turf was hot and it was humid, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And then my roommate, me and my roommate DeMarcus, he was a good buddy of mine too, and he's like, man, just push through, and then I did, and it was well worth it. It was a great experience down there. I'd recommend it to everyone.
So you spent that. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
You spent that year down there, and then you decide to come back home and play at Ashland. What went into that decision? Did you think about staying down in Louisiana at all?
Yeah, for sure. Choosing Ashland was a very late decision as well, because I loved it down south. The hospitality, the atmosphere, everything was, and the food, everything was good down south. But then Ashland was always like a dream school of mine, and they wanted me for quarterback, and there's only one quarterback ahead of me. He's a redshirt junior. So it felt like the right decision. And then spring ball is going to try to get a jump on the recruits coming in. Obviously, we didn't have spring ball, but I'm glad with the decision I made.
Yeah, and you talk about, I think Brenner, is that his name?
Yeah, Austin Brenner. He's
Brenner
really good.
Copley.
Really good. Yeah, Copley.
Copley is the quarterback there now. But what impressed you most about the Eagles and their program and Coach Lee Owens, and what really drove you, and maybe what were some other schools that you were looking at to come back to Ohio or maybe around the area that could be a potential fit too?
Some of the other schools I was looking at was Tiffin, and then there was a couple Division IIs in Mississippi, then some NAIA. Actually, as soon when I got down to Louisiana, before we even played a game, Coach Hutch and Coach Black were able to pull me. I had about 5 offers within the first month before we even played a down of football from a couple NAIAs in Iowa and Illinois and whatnot. I think I left there with about 20 offers from NAIA, D2, and Division III. But when I came out of high school, I only had a couple. So, they definitely helped me out. But then Ashland, Coach Owens, everyone knows he's a winner wherever he goes. And he's got a good, solid foundation. And I want to win ball games. I want to win that national championship, that conference championship. And I feel like my best fit was with the Eagles. And with our facilities we have, it's very doable, and the players we have and the position coaches we have, and we're getting a brand new indoor full 100-yard turf facility with the track going to be built by next October. So we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, you should be. It sounds outstanding.
Well, and obviously with the coronavirus, things haven't gotten off to the start that you wanted at Ashland. Just explain what it's been like these past few months and what the transition's been like to Ashland.
Well, at first it was rough because I didn't have a place to work out in right away, and obviously we were unsure about if we were going to ever go back to school or ever go back to normal. And it was weird without any sports, professional sports. So we definitely had to try new things out. But then I was fortunate enough to with Brian Glowski from Winford. He owns a business called MWD Logistics. He took me in. He let me use their weight room they had there, so I got to work out. And then me and my brother, we went on runs all together. Ethan, because he's training for his senior campaign. So it was just we just made the best of the situation. Obviously, it's not a good situation, but we just tried to look at all the positives and try new things out without sports and hoping to get back to normal here soon.
Got kind of a 2-tier question here, Ty. And first off, you were a 4-year letter winner in 3 sports. So my first part of the question is, why football? And then second, you had mentioned you were tight end and then transitioned to quarterback. What does it take? Is it more of a mental or is it more of a physical attribute that you need to have to be a good quarterback?
I'd say it's more of a mental, because you gotta be able to see the receiver open before he's open, and every play you gotta know everyone's role, and even on run plays you gotta decide if you're gonna hand it, pull, toss it, whatever you gotta do. You gotta be in physical shape. Don't get me wrong, you gotta be able to throw the ball and run it a little bit, but it's more of a mental position. And if you don't make the right decision, everyone's eyes are on you. So you're either gonna win or you're gonna lose. Your name's going on paper either way.
So why football over baseball and basketball then? Because I know you were a really accomplished baseball player as well.
Yes, sir. Well, that's what a lot of people were like. They asked the same thing, why football over baseball? But it was just that once you have that love for football, it's hard to let go, and that brotherhood you make with your teammates and the memories you have, and you're with your football team more than anyone, because you have all of winter workouts, you got spring workouts, and you got summer workouts, and then 2-a-day. So, I mean, that was really my happy place was with football, and that's why I just kind of rolled with football.
So you talk about the mental aspect of being a quarterback. Since you've been gone from Crestline, you went down to Louisiana, now you're at Ashland. Have you better prepared yourself mentally with reading defenses and situations like that?
Yes, sir, for sure. Hastings Robinette, like I said before, he was the quarterback coach with me, offensive coordinator at Crestline, and he helped me read defenses and whatnot. Then I got down to Louisiana, and Coach Black, he's kind of like he's a QB guru down there. He played for Nichols down there. It's a FCS school. They won the conference one year. He was playing for him, and he's a really smart guy, knows the ins and outs. Same with his brother, Coach Hutch. I mean, they both helped me a lot with the quarterback and reading defenses and seeing it's open before it's open and pre-snap reads, and just there's so much stuff I didn't even know was involved with playing quarterback until I got down there.
We're visiting with former Crestline graduate and now enrolled at Ashland University, ready to play football for the Eagles, Ty Clark Jr. And Ty, we know Crestline has had some tough times from a wins and loss standpoint, and not taking anything away from that program. But just talk a little bit about how important it was for you to take that time and go down to Louisiana, because probably both physically, mentally, and just being aware of the game, you may not have been able to make that jump from Crestline to Ashland. Is that correct?
That is 100% correct. Had I not gone to play for CMP Prep Academy and played for Coach Hutch, Coach Butler, and Coach Black, I would have fell way behind. I'm talking, it was a huge step from the academy to Ashland, but from Crestline straight to Ashland, I would have been overwhelmed, and it would have been a lot harder. I'm not saying I couldn't do it, but it definitely would have been a struggle. And I'm glad I made the decision to go down there because they helped me out a lot. And I recommend that to anyone from Crawford, Richland, anyone from this area. I'd recommend to go to a prep school because it doesn't hurt you. You don't lose any eligibility. It's like a why not thing. It can only help you. It can't hurt you.
Yeah, and it's not any disrespect to the program. And in fact, the program's moving in a good direction. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But just the amount of things that you learn at that next level to prepare you for Division II had to be huge.
Yes, it was. I'm very grateful for what they taught me down at CMP Prep Academy.
So moving forward, if there is a football season this year, Ashland already dropped their first game against Indianapolis. They have home games against Walsh, Ohio Dominican, Grand Valley State, Saginaw Valley, Northern Michigan, Norwood. I guess just explain, for a lot of people who don't know Ashland football, explain those types of teams, what the conference is like, and what some expectations are at Ashland.
I believe we're in the best conference in the division, in the whole Division II football. I mean, you look at Ferris State, they're always in and out of the national championship game. There are other good conferences and good teams, but I feel we are in the toughest conference. And every team we play, there's no giving game. There's no like, oh, we're going to kill them. I mean, we go in with that mentality, we're going to win and whatnot, but with our conference, it's up for grabs, and usually whoever wins our conference has a good shot of winning it all. So the expectations are high over there. I mean, you got to get the ball and you got to get rolling, or else you're going to get left behind. We got a lot of options, a lot of kids that want to come in here, a lot of kids that want to play, and you can be replaced just like that. So you really got to take advantage of every situation, and you got to act like a winner to be a winner. You got to work as a winner to be a winner.
So what have you heard as far as when camp will start, and what's that going to look like? What are some things that you're told that are going to happen, again, considering the social distancing and everything that's going on?
We start camp August 19th, so it's new for all of us, so we're not sure how it's going to go. And I know we're going to have to wear masks and whatnot, but it's new to everyone, so we're not 100% sure on what we're going to do. August 19th is when we got to be there.
And that's a short trip for you.
30 minutes.
Do you plan on commuting, or are you staying on campus?
I'll be staying on campus.
And what will you be studying at Ashland?
Education, 7 through 12 social studies.
Seems to me like it sounds like maybe some coaching in the future too.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I kind of sense that. So good for you. I want to circle back here a little bit and talk about the experience at Crestline. And And let's face it, it's a town that's gone through some struggles, just not only in athletics and things, but just in the community itself. But since I've been a little closer to it through the radio programs the last 2 years, you got people like Coach Johnny King with the football program, Tyler Sanders with the basketball program, and some things are turning around there. But I want to get kind of your feedback on what it meant to you to play for the Bulldogs. And even though maybe the wins and losses weren't where you wanted them to be, just the impression it made on you as a person and to catapult you into what you're doing today.
It was the best feeling in the world to play for a town, especially with every small town. Everyone knows everyone, so they're always at your football games, your baseball games, your basketball games. Yeah, when we won, we'd had more people out, but going towards it, like my senior year, the gym was always packed, the stadium was always packed. It was the community's turning around. At Clayton Herald, he's doing a good job of that. Off the non-sports wise, we got new restaurants opening up, downtown's looking nice. So I think the comeback Crestline is real, and like you said, Coach King is doing a great job with the football program. I've been out with them while they're doing their throwing and stuff. They start camp next week, actually. So he's been doing a good job. The most numbers I've ever seen from my 7th grade year to now is right now. So I think this will be the year for them to take over. And Sanders is doing a good job as well with the basketball program. And Coach Sellers, his name is Mitch Sellers. He'll be coaching baseball next year. He played a little bit of ball at Otterbein and a little bit of ball at MVNU. So I think the whole sports program is continuing the turnaround.
You talk about playing for a town like Crestline. You talk about playing in front of home fans. Have you thought about what that might be like this fall if there's no fans? Even for your younger brother, still now a senior in high school at Crestline, have you thought about what it might be like for him and what it might be like for you at Ashland?
Well, for him, I'm not sure if he would even notice because he was kind of the crazy kid in the game. None of us knew who he was during the football game. So I think he'll be fine. He's still going to be crazy, fired up. That guy wants to go out there and just annihilate everyone in his way. But for me, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I noticed the crowd and whatnot. It will be weird. It'll feel like a combined practice or a scrimmage or something like that, especially, you get to college, you're ready for the sold out stadiums, thousands and thousands and thousands of fans. So, if we get to play, it'll be a blessing. But yes, it'll be different without fans for sure for everyone.
You had mentioned, you talked about how football was so special to you because of the brotherhood. And I've talked to a lot of football players and coaches over a long period of time, and they reference that same terminology of the brotherhood. How have the veterans at Ashland embraced you and welcomed you coming in as kind of an outsider? Have they welcomed you into that fraternity?
Yes, a little. Yes, a little bit because I was only on campus for about 4 or 5 weeks before COVID hit. I remember my first day there. There were a couple of alums that were there, and then they have community members who kind of walk along the campus. They just do it just to walk because it's a beautiful campus. And I always had, they said, "Oh, you look new around here," and I'm like, "Yeah." And then we get there and we start talking for about 30, 40 minutes, and then all the seniors who graduated. They were all pretty nice to me. A couple of them were quarterbacks. They helped me out. Everyone did. They did take me in. They took me in. My cousin, he actually transferred there with me too. They took us both in, and it's been a blessing. It's a really nice college.
We had touched on your brother for a little bit there, and this is his last year. Do you have any advice for him going into his senior season?
Just keep playing the way he's been playing and play like every down's his last because the 10 weeks go by quick. It may not seem like it, but once the clock hits zero, nothing's the same as high school football. Nothing's Friday Night Lights. So it's definitely just cherish it. It's all him and all the other seniors. And because when that clock hits zero, before it hits zero, they sub all the seniors out. You're sitting there and say what you want. But everyone I know, we cried like a bunch of girls sitting there hugging each other and didn't take our pads off for the longest time in the locker room because we didn't know if we were ever going to put them back on. So I just cherish every moment.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And it is interesting because I've seen it firsthand. And you're all supposed to be really tough guys and stuff. But when reality hits and you know that that's over and you may never play again, it can turn even the toughest kid into a pretty much a softie for sure. But that's great advice. Talk a little bit about, when you're the quarterback, you're certainly, as you said, kind of under a microscope. Everybody watches that position, right? That's why Mahomes goes out and makes $500 million, right? It's not just because he's good. I mean, he's in a key position, right? Talk about how, even looking back from the first time you were quarterback to where you are now, how you've gained in leadership skills and mental toughness through working at that position.
Well, my first time starting at quarterback was 7th grade. Nick Reynolds, I don't know if you remember him. He was an old Crestline quarterback. He played 4 years quarterback. I mean, he has about 3 or 4 records, and so he helped me out first. And then Coach Hurst, I don't know if you remember Coach Hurst. He was there for a year. They both worked with me. They're like, "You're gonna be quarterback. You're gonna be quarterback." And I was like, "I don't know about it. I don't know about it." I was nervous throwing up before our first game. And now it's just, now I'm not gonna lie, I get nervous before every game, and that's every new level I'll get more nervous. But it's just things I used to do compared to now. It's mentally toughness I've gotten a lot stronger, and I don't see I used to, like, if it got too loud or something, I'd start shaking and I couldn't remember the plays and stuff. Now I can just go out there like it's backyard football, and it feels great. I've had a lot of good quarterback coaches that have helped me out, so I'm fortunate with that.
All right, so Ty, I think about ready to wrap things up here, and we'll go ahead. Are you ready for a little bit of rapid fire?
I think so.
All right, so you have one restaurant in the whole world to eat at. Where's it gonna be?
Twins Burgers down in Lafayette.
What made those so special?
I went on a visit there in the spring before I went down there. Me and my dad, we got this. It's called the Evil Twin Burger. The restaurant's owned by 2 twin brothers, identical twins, and it was the best burger I ever had in my life. And I ate that. I mean, my stomach didn't agree with it all the time, but it was probably the best burger anyone will ever have. So I'm gonna get them to franchise up north, and I'll let you see.
5 Guys don't hold a candle to them, right?
Yeah, no, Five Guys is nothing.
So I'm going to kind of dovetail off of that, just because you had mentioned about not only the hospitality down in Louisiana, but the food. What was your favorite Southern food that you experienced when you were down there?
Oof. I'd have to say either that twin burger, or they had called Cajun pizza. It was like a pepperoni pizza with a kick, and it had chicken and sausage grinded up on it. It was pretty good. And then Coach Hutch, we go over eat at his house, and his wife would make the chicken that you see on the videos that literally would fall off the bone. That was every Sunday. I look forward to that.
Something pretty special for sure. Jared, what do you got next?
All right. What are you watching on Netflix right now?
The Office. I watch it 24/7.
Who's your favorite character on it?
Every season.
Say that again?
How many times have you watched every season through? Have you watched it multiple times?
Oh, yeah, probably like 10 at least. There's 9 seasons.
Jeez, Pete. And you never get tired of it?
Heck no.
Okay. Interesting. So you got the earbuds in, and take us inside the locker room. You're putting your pads on, getting ready for a game. You're maybe out doing your pregame warm-ups. What are you listening to in those earbuds? What's your hype music to get you ready for a game?
It's either YG, he's always been one of my go-tos, and Lil Boosie. Both of them get me fired up. And now I got a little bit of that Louisiana young boy that they put me on, so I listen to that a lot too. So It all just kind of evens it out.
All right.
So besides Crestline, where was your favorite place to play on Friday night?
I'd have to say Ashtabula St. John. They had a turf field, huge complex. Felt like I think a college used it as well, but that's probably my favorite place to play.
So again, you played a lot of sports in high school. If you looked at any of the 3, football, basketball, baseball, who was one or a couple of the toughest guys you ever had to go up against in any of the sports?
For basketball, I'd have to say freshman year against Grant Loy. The one, obviously, he's going to Auburn now.
Right.
But I was a cocky freshman, but I was scrawny, and he was kind of bigger, and we just go at it all night, push back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He's probably one of the toughest basketball players I ever played against. I never played him in football. Football wise, I'd have to say Jeb Grover, just because he was impossible to tackle with one guy, and you always just he was going to drag you down the field. Not me personally, but he got the best of me a couple of times. He's pretty good.
Outstanding. Well, we need to get things wrapped up here, Ty. Before we do, you want to give a shout out to anybody tonight specifically?
I'd like to give a shout out to my parents, TJ and Shelly. I'd like to give a shout out to my brothers, Ethan and Weston, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles. I want to give a shout out to Coach Hutch and Coach Hastings and Coach Feeman, Coach Butler, Coach Black, all my coaches who impacted me, Coach Massa, Coach Loud, all basketball coaches. And I'd like everyone to, if they could say a prayer. We got some, as you recall, there's a bad accident, and a lot of people from around here were involved in it. If you could just keep them and their family in your thoughts and prayers. And that's about it.
And kind of last thing, I guess, from me personally before Jared, again, just talk about the pride that you feel, the Crestline pride, how much that's important to you, and that you'll carry that with you throughout your life.
It's very important. I mean, I got a bulldog tattoo on my leg as soon as my mom let me, and I've always had that bulldog pride in me. I always wanted to play for Crestline, and there was thoughts of transfer when everyone else was transferring, but I'd always playing for Crestline was like me playing for the Dillon Panthers on Friday Night Lights. I always had that Crestline pride.
Nice. Well, we thank you, Ty, for joining us, and good luck at Ashland. Hopefully we have a football season this year, and we'll look forward to watching you in the future.
Thanks for having me, you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Ty, thanks so much. It's interesting. Just a couple of years ago, I was interviewing you on the radio, and I can tell the maturity's come a long way. You're still a pretty grounded person, but you're a different person, and I mean that in a very respectful and a very good way. We wish you nothing but the best of luck at Ashland. I hope it's a great experience for you, both educationally and athletically as well. We certainly appreciate you, and you were part of that resurgence of Crestline, and you set your mark. And I think that's very, very important. And those that are coming behind you are benefiting from it. So I would thank you for that as well. But just wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, like Jared said, we have a football season. You get to have a great experience. And we just appreciate you giving of your time to want to join us tonight for sure.
Hey, thanks for having me. Anytime. It's an honor.
Absolutely. As we get ready to close here, I need to remind you the comments and views expressed in this podcast series are those of Mike Sparks, Jared Moore, and our guest. This podcast is not associated in any way with WBCO and WQEL Radio. Jared, anything else to close things out on episode 13 here?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay, very good. We'll be making an announcement soon on episode 14, so be looking on social media, on our Twitter page at Overtime Podcasts. That's podcast without a T, but add a number 2 at the end, Overtime Podcast 2, or you can find us on Facebook as well. That'll put a close to this episode of the Overtime Podcast with Sparksy and Jared. And I'll remind you, as I do each and every week, spirit with a vision is a dream with a mission. Have a good night, everybody.